So, the second film of The Hobbit has come out. Yay! I guess. With that in mind, what would be a more perfect timing to finally get to discuss about the very first adaptation of Tolkien's famous novel? No. Believe it or not, Ralph Bakshi's version was not the first iteration of the famous fantasy novel. There was another one before that. It was made in 1966 in Prague. It was a one-reel animation directed by the same guy who ruined Tom and Jerry forever. Oh yes, it exists.
Gene Deitch is a name that carries a lot of weight, more so for his legendary misfires and less for his actual talent with cartoons, which I find debatable to begin with. He's an American-born artist who resided in Prague for most of his life, where he worked for Rembrandt Films, and made his impact in the animation industry with the short film Monroe in 1961, the first foreign short subject animated feature to win an Academy Award. After a TV revival of the Popeye series, eventually he was commissioned to produce 13 of the most horrible Tom and Jerry cartoons ever. And as you might be speculating by now, Deitch's true feelings about the beloved cartoon duo has become the stuff of legends. And by legends, I mean creepypasta stories. Speaking of interesting tidbits of pseudo-information to fill this video with, he wasn't even credited in the making of The Hobbit. I wonder why. Perhaps it had to do with the fact that this was not an official adaptation, as in, they didn't have the rights to do it, but they did it anyway. They ended up changing some of the characters' names and a huge chunk of the story altogether in order to make it sufficiently different from the source material, much like Murnau did for his own unofficial version of Bram Stoker's Dracula in the 1920s. How did that work out? Well, this 11 minutes short is currently in the public domain, so you'll be the judge of that.
So let's rediscover J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. The illegal Eastern European version.
This was Dale, the city of golden bells, in the time of Middle-earth, before men came to power and ruined magic forever.
Curse you, bronies! You ruined the show for everyone else!
And this is the Arkenstone of old, the white heart of the mountain, the central treasure of all the vast treasures of this golden realm.
Must resist urge to reference the Crystal Empire!
Suddenly, it was all destroyed by the monster lizard Slag the Terrible.
Seriously? His name is Slag the Terrible?
And he dragged off the treasures of Dale, even the Arkenstone itself. Only 3 survived the flames.
To make a short story even shorter, this guy is Thorin, this guy is maybe Bard, and there's also a princess. Because why not? They seek the help of Gandalf the Grey, who tells them they should, totally go fetch the Hobbit because he's the chosen hero of prophecy.
So it has come to pass, said the great wizard, that Dale has been destroyed by Slag, and that he nests on the treasure in the carved halls under Lonely Mountain, just as it is written in the great book.
That book is called the screenplay.
Of course, they barged uninvited into Bilbo's house, telling him he has to go to kill a flipping dragon because it is written. Bilbo's reaction is spot on.
You must creep into the deepest great chamber of the old jewel mines of Dale and kill the fire-spitting dragon Slag. A fascinating story, said the small hobbit. And now, if you have all finished your breakfasts, it's been a great pleasure to meet you, and I wish you lots of luck and all speed. The conscripted dragon slayer and the 3 survivors of Dale struggled across the great barricades. Gandalf the Grey watched from his own distance. He knew well what terror waited along this craggy path.
Wait, you're not going to help them? Your name is not Gandalf the Grey, it's Trollbeard the Trolling! To make a shorter story even shorter, they pass through the couple of angry trolls, Bilbo collects the Ring of Power from Gollum's cavern, the story comes at an abrupt end once the Fellowship of the Boar kills off the dragon while he's sleeping, making for the least exciting climax since the ending of Battleship Potemkin. There's no need to point out the glaring differences between this film and the original novel since it was established why they were made in the first place. What's definitely worth pointing out instead is that this barely qualifies as a film. One reel practically means less motions than in a 1960s Marvel cartoon.
Across the rainbow bridge of Asgard, where the booming heavens roar, you'll behold in breathless wonder the God of thunder, mighty Thor.
It's effectively a collection of book illustrations of mediocre quality at best and appealing at worst, with a decent voiceover telling the story and reading all the characters' lines, a la Pete and the Wolf, without the animated accompaniment. It's a production that screams cheap rip-off and lack of effort on our faces, and therefore it's just as easy to forget it ever existed. However, if there's one good element that can be gathered from this experience is that it's possible to tell a relatively rushed yet complete, simple tale of heroism in 11 minutes, as opposed to be telling a simple tale of heroism in the span of 3 films.
Hobbit snap!
Then it is clear that the time has come. The time of the Hobbit. What horrid little nasty has come to steal our ring, my precious?